niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. Y'all niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. My brotherhood. My brotherhood. These niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. Y'all niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. These niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. My brotherhood. My brotherhood. We gon' get you out is what the older God said. Sahim a lawyer, the firstborn is dead. Conference calls, mobilize, the whole nation screaming, free AllahKing Wize. I see you haters hating on the sideline. Watch out for the killers over there, they ride or die. Fresh off a bid, God forbid, I let all 50 rounds off and knock off his head. Stop the violence, stop the violence. A straight bullet took him out, his mama crying. What is this life? What is it worth? Better wake up, boy, it's gonna get worse. Blood flowing down the street up to a horse's brittle. I'm lying down the street in a four-wheeler. Queen on her back, reflecting like the full moon. Baby, I'm back, walking out the courtroom. The highest man in the state, yeah, he know my name. Top legislators in the state know my name. Cash flow, swimming in it like a fish. Shoot at me, nigga, you better not miss. Nah, them shooters be with me, we bet nothing wrong. They can kill the free with it, that's all she wrote. Y'all niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. These niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. Y'all niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. My brotherhood, my brotherhood. These niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. Y'all niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. These niggas can't fuck with my brotherhood. My brotherhood, my brotherhood. Yeah, Major paper talent. Just came back for Papa Rules the E-Day celebration, all night affair. Long live the God. See, when you teaching mathematics right exact, you live forever. You live on in the mind. That's what the God tell you. Don't look above your head because there's no heaven above. You see what I'm saying? Don't look down beneath your feet because there's no hell below. Yeah, that's real life. Living mathematics, walking and talking. Each and every day, each and every way. Peace. Peace, peace. Yo, yo. It's the God AllahKing Wize on this Wisdom Culture Day. I'm broadcasting right here on Facebook Live, and I'm on YouTube Live right here. See my man Rose. That's Rose right there. Okay. Okay, I see you. I see you right there, Rose, man. So, again, I'm up here still promoting my life as a 5%er. Put it for the screen, you can see real clear. My life as a 5%er, 36 Chamber Disciple. I was up here yesterday talking about the book, so I'm going to read a little bit more portion of the book because the whole theme is going to be after a lot of people read the book, we go study the book, take different aspects of the book and build on it because, this is how I show improve my wisdom of the culture and express my equality. This is how I do it. On this Wisdom Culture Day, I'm expressing my equality. And that's all about how determined is your idea. We say Yaqub, the degrees say Yaqub had a determined idea. Because like, what was his idea of making devil? It was predicted to him to make devil before he was born. So he was born with a determined idea to make a people to rule for 6,000 years. You know what I'm saying? So he was born with a determined idea. And, to be born with a determined idea, that's like you have this drive inside of you. It's something inside of you that's pushing you forward, that's driving you towards a certain goal. And you have this strong will to reach that goal, regardless of whatever obstacles lie in between you and that goal. And that's how it is for a lot of brothers that's locked up.
a lot of my brothers that's locked up, they not able to see and hear this, you know. So, but I still represent for that side of life, because that side of life is like they say, out of sight, out of mind. And then those who don't understand what it's like to be in the injustice, incarcerated, you know, you hear a lot of people try to talk, oh, you know, you shouldn't have been doing whatever you was doing to get locked up. Oh, you get locked up and this and that. Yeah, that you say that shit until one of somebody in your family get locked up, somebody close to you get locked up. Then you want to like advocate on behalf of those locked up. And so it's to each his own, though. Everybody got their own way of how they look at things in life. So, hey, I'm doing what I do for those who I'm cut from. You know, that's my equality. That's what I'm talking about, my supreme brotherhood. Because I know the power within that brotherhood. I know how that wisdom expresses itself through the culture. And see, a lot of things that connected with me within my brotherhood, you know, basically came from me living mathematics. The way that I live mathematics, the way I express supreme mathematics. Everybody got their own way how they do it. I'm just giving you mine. This is just my equality about that. And so looking at my memoir, my book right here. Oh, let me say this too. I wrote this when I was locked up. I did all this in there. Then when I came out, I just got it published. I got 2 more books. I got another aspect of this that I'm gonna put out that really go more into the advocacy of, you know, me getting out, like the different aspects of the court battles. You know, I was going through court battles and different things I was going through inside of being incarcerated. And, you know, the reason why that can be inspirational to some people is you got to think about people like Nelson Mandela. I read Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom, right? That was very inspirational. I read Geronimo's Pratt book. I can't remember the name of a Geronimo's Pratt book, but I also read Johnny Cochran's book, Long Journey to Justice. And he speak about how he was the lawyer for Geronimo Pratt. And for those who know who Geronimo Pratt is, you know, he was a Black Panther. And so I read Reuben Hurricane's Carter book, talking about his battle, what he went through in incarceration, his fight for freedom. So it's different people who have, you know, wrote their story or told their story about their trials and tribulations with the white supremacist system of injustice. So I'm just giving you mine, you know, because I'm a 5%er, then it just comes across in this form. And then like my big brother, Allah B, he never wrote a book about his story of what he went through, but he told me a lot about what he went through in his 27 years that he did on behalf of, because he was a 5%er. You know, while he was up in Pelon, up in the Bronx, and got incarcerated, and he was given a life sentence. So that's his story. That's part of his story right there. You know, that's my father mentor, Allah B. I talk about him in the book right here too. You know, how I got connected to him and how I began to, you know, align myself a certain way in dealing with the knowledge, in dealing with the history. I hear the terminology these days too, yo, like clout chasing. I hear people say that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, clout chasing, you know, or something like that, right? See, one thing about me, AllahKing Wize, I already came through certain things in my life where, like, yo, in the streets of how I came, and then, you know, getting locked up, yo, I built myself. You know what I'm saying? I was the type of individual that built myself off somebody else. I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? I did what I did. Just so happened, in me being a real one, I got connected to individuals. You know, I got connected with other type of individuals who already made a name for themselves. So we connected. So it's like just a brotherhood. You dig what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So that's just how that goes. But you know, think about this. At one time, every man that you see, every woman that you see, right? Whether they are multi-billionaire or a bum on the street, we all have one thing in common as people, right? We all have one thing in common. I don't care if you got a $1 billion empire. I don't care if you got a private jet. I don't care if you got diamond chains, you know, drive Bentley, or you drive a Ford, whatever. You know what I'm saying? As an adult, we all started off as little babies. Every man or woman that you see that you may look up to, you might look at this person like he's larger than life. But yo, that individual was once a little baby, just a little baby. And take it even back even further, he was just a thought that was transferred through the sperm of his father, ejected into the womb of his mother, and then gave back. So that's the wisdom of the culture, bringing out that equality too, though, a determined idea, you know. So, yo, man, you don't really have to idol worship individuals. Like, you know, I don't ride nobody dick. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the type of individual to be like, yo, I respect individuals though. Individuals who put in work and did whatever they did, yo, I salute. Yo, I give a salute, yo, it's peace, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't the type to go out my way to really be like, yo, I'm trying to, you know, things happen organically with me. That's why I say real recognize real. In all my time and moving and shaking in the street, or even when I was incarcerated from this compound to that compound, I was the same. Anybody who been around me, like I can name numerous people, like the God Shah Teach. You can say the God Foundation, the God Genesis Asiatic, the God, Firstborn. I'm striving to name brothers that's out here right now. You know what I'm saying? The God Universal Flame. It's a lot. You know, it's a lot, right? These brothers were around me, you know what I mean? That we was around each other. And if you say, yo, AllahKing Wize, yo, what was AllahKing Wize doing? What type of individual he was? Yo, they're gonna tell you, yo, the God always is building. That's one of the things they're gonna say. Yo, the God was I'm always building. When you see me here on this live doing what I'm doing, yo, I don't, even without this shit, I'm building. I don't need this right here to like give me the drive to build. Wherever I'm at, you're gonna see me building. If I was in a jail cell, I was building. On a street corner, you know what I mean? I'm building. Locked up 21 hours in a cell, I'm building. Red Onion, Wallace Ridge, I'm building. Sussex 1, Sussex 2, Greensville, King Mountain, I'm building. That's what was taking place. So it wasn't like, yo, I'm part-time building. Yo, I'm building now when everybody, I'm building even locked up in the whole 23 hours locked down. You only coming out 1 hour to go out somewhere, take a shower or something, go outside, and you locked down in special housing. I'm still building. Not only that, you get like the God, be like, yo, damn, AllahKing Wize, he got all these degrees. I'm writing degrees, passing them out to the brothers. I'm doing research, I'm reading. I'm doing this for the expression of the knowledge of self to a collective whole. It's because I know it's bigger than me. And what inspired me like that is that when you pick up a book, right? When you read a book about somebody's life that they wrote themselves or somebody else wrote about their life, my point is they put it in a book form. They put it, whether it's audio book or whether it's written book, it's giving you some information. It's allowing you a peek into this person's life to see how certain things was going on in their life to help shape and mold them to be the person that they are, or, the person that they were, or whichever way you want to look at it. That's the power of a book. And when you look at the law, when you study the law, because they just made a ruling The Supreme Court of the United States, they just overturned Roe versus Wade. And, that deal with the abortion thing, the women and having, the abortion. So, for some time it had been where, a woman could go get an abortion. And so, the conservatives, they was like, yo, I don't think you should be killing the baby, because they like, yo, that's life. That's life there. And so you shouldn't be, killing the baby. And for me, I look at this as Yaqub, have killed the baby, killed the black baby. I understand certain aspects of that. But, yo, that's a law, though, that they talking about. They overruled a law. So that law was precedent, meaning that was standing on the books to be set as what all other cases that came before the Supreme Court or came before any court in the United States dealing with abortion or something like that, they had to refer to this Roe versus Wade as the landmark case. It's the holding where it has to fit into that, or they're going to say, yo, it's no good. But now they changed that. It's a lot of controversy. A lot of people upset about that. But that's how it goes when you study how laws are made. When you study how different policies are set up. So that's what I look at when we start talking about, freedom, justice, and equality. We fight for liberation from white supremacy institutions, institutional slavery, and all of that. Yo, you got to study the law. And when I'm saying study the law, you study the law from a point of view of how did they come up with this law? What was the idea? What was the idea behind it? What was the intent? They call that legislative intent. What was the legislative intent? And see, some people can't comprehend the language of this. So then you got to go get a lawyer and let a lawyer try to interpret something to you. And a lawyer can manipulate you too, because that's the same thing that a trader did to us in our past and how we ended up in the situation in the wilderness of North America anyway. So you got to go study these things for yourself. Read and comprehend. It's all about reading comprehension. So while you wasting time, a lot of times stuck on what another brother or sister is doing in their life, right? That they live in their life, whatever. You should be really studying what these elite white supremacist individuals are doing. You should be studying your enemy. You know what I mean? You study yourself, but also study your enemy. Look at the law, the book, read the books. The laws are written down in books. They got them written down in books. You see? And no matter how high the technology evolve, they still got this form. They still gonna keep this form right here. They still gonna keep books, right? And when you read, man, you feeding your brain. Like you feeding your brain food. It's food for thought, and it processes in your subconscious. So you gotta pay attention to what you're reading too. You read a bunch of junk food for thought, then it's never gonna get no nutritional. It don't hold no nutritional value. You know what I'm saying? So, pick up a book and read something, that could give you another outlook on life, that can give you another perspective, but also to study the different policies that exist. Because even when you go to working at some company, they got policies, code of conduct, how you're supposed to operate within this organization, within this institution. But always keep in mind, it started from somebody's idea, somebody's mind. And they just transferred their idea, their thoughts onto paper and policy and structured it as a way you should live your life by. So their wisdom becomes structured into a culture, and they apply it through their equality out to those who want to exist within that realm of whatever they control. And so this type of shit right here, man, you got to give to the young individuals in the street. We was on the Clubhouse last night on the calls, the state of hip hop music. It was different points of view of how we see hip hop now, the history of hip hop, and where is it going? It was a great conversation. because the music is powerful, and it was some great jewels dropped. Man, you can go back and look that up on Major Bank Mentality on Clubhouse. It's on replay. You might go take a listen to what we were talking about on there, because the state of hip hop is the state of the youth. Hip hop always been something that was inspired by the young, and because it was inspired by the young, it's the same thing when you look at the 5% Nation. The 5% Nation was inspired by the young, even though Allah the Father was a grown man, Justice C was a grown man, Abu Shahid, they were grown men. They were dealing with children and inspiring children, young boys, to be men, to be civilized, to be righteous. So hip hop, grew out of that environment of the gods. And so it was young. But as the gods grow in their years, they become adults. So there's really no precedent for that, for our nation, in regards to how we move as the 5% evolving up into our adult years. They got gods now in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. See, there's nobody that came before Allah who built a nation of gods. There is, in all the history that I can never think of on the planet, there never been a history showing that it was a nation built off children. The nation of the 5%, I ain't talking about no myth nations. I ain't talking about some mythological story. If you think about ancient Egypt, ancient Kush, ancient Nubia, Timbuktu, Indus Kush, ancient Arabia, it usually speak about these civilizations being established by grown men, adults. But Allah, the Father, He structured a nation from children. And like the youngest one, like 12, 13, of the non-born, they say Kaheem was like 13. That's phenomenal when you think about it. If you really think about it, really, really look at this. Because, me being AllahKing Wize, right? And I say wise, I give you the wiseology, the wisenetics. Just a pun on my word, on my name. So the W is like warrior. You know what I mean? Like I'm a warrior. In the eyes, insight. In the zigzag, signals, 360, executor. So it's like, I give you warrior insight from a 360-degree perspective that's dealing with execution. So when you think about this, young 5%ers, Allah's 5%ers, 21, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Okay, boom, that's the crop. That's the age range right there for the first non-born. And within the years of Allah being on the scene physically in the body of Himself as Allah, from 64, some say 63, okay, to 69, right? So basically, these brothers were the oldest no more than 25 when Allah lead the scene physically as Allah Himself, right? Here it is, 2022, and we still resort or make reference to things that were said by individuals who were teenagers. Let me say it again. Here in the 21st century, 2022, we still make reference to things that were said by teenagers as being jewels of life that we apply to our day-to-day living. Like the wisdom from then that they established as a culture, that equality extended all the way until 2022. It's still here. So somebody would say, Black Messiah said this. How old was Black Messiah? Okay, he got the knowledge. He was 16 years old, right? So if you're counting, okay, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. I'm counting like that. So he was 16 in 1964, right? So that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So he basically was like 21 years old when the father left the scene. Black Messiah was. So when somebody say, yo, Black Messiah said this, or Black Messiah taught him or taught them, we are giving reference to a teenager or a young man with his wisdom of the culture. His wisdom of the culture extending all the way his equality to now that we use as a reference point of how we should live our life. That's phenomenal. What 16-year-old you know right now that you would listen to be like, you know what? I mean, you got some 16-year-old that's very wise too, though. So don't think, you know what I'm saying, like you can learn from anybody. But I'm making a point of we are a nation that was built from babies. We are a nation that was built from young children. Allah, the Father, was a grown man, yeah. But the pillars that were set, when we say trace yourself back to Allah, trace your knowledge back to the Father, because you know, for anybody that came into the knowledge after 1969, after June 13th, you ain't meet Allah the Father. So all the references that we're gonna be looking at is from those who were around him, who were basically teenagers and young men. And then they interpreted what he said. Phenomenal. That's all I can say. That's powerful. That's very powerful. So then when you talk about hip hop, the hip hop scene, where we at? It's young. It's young people. But one thing I want to emphasize that made these young individuals so phenomenal is the fact that they were listening to grown men who were mentoring them. Allah, just to see, right? Rajab, Ibika. Yo, you know, so these were older brothers mentoring young. And so that is the blueprint for today. Men mentoring young boys, showing them how to be men. And so these young individuals that Allah and justice them were dealing with wasn't no, you know, goody two-shoes individuals like some nerds and stuff running around in school that, you know, getting good grades in school. Nah, these were high school dropouts. These were, some of them were stick-up kids. Some of them were gang members. A lot of them were gang members. A whole section of the nation was structured from some gang members. So when I be hearing individuals look at the young dudes today, be like, oh, yo, they gang members or they wild, they thugs. Yo, now if you God, right, and you saying you a part of this nation, what are you talking about? When I hear individuals like, oh, individuals locked up and they getting locked up and they doing this, yo, what are you talking about? Do you know your history? I'm not saying you continue to repeat history neither. But what I'm saying is that's a demand. When you can see certain things taking place and you can identify it as being a problem, that means you're responsible for it. Because you're the one saying you see it. If you be like, yo, that's such and such, and that's not right and exact, and, you know, these things right here is not going according to whatever, okay, then it's your responsibility to get it right because you're the one that's identifying it as being a problem. You acknowledging it, you openly saying that you see this as being a problem. So therefore, you, the one that's opening your mouth about it, have the responsibility to get it right and exact. Because if the other person ain't saying nothing about it, evidently they haven't identified it yet. Now, sometimes they could have identified it, but they're not speaking about it. But once you speak about it, once you bring it out of your mouth and you are presenting it to some other people as a problem, as something that's not right and exact, you get it right then. Because otherwise, you sit back waiting for somebody else to get it right. All you do is saying, yo, this, and that, and yo, they doing this or they doing that. Okay, get it right then. Get it right. That's just how I see it. You know, that's just my wisdom of the culture. I'm not gonna be here that long. I'm just expressing what I express. So you know I gotta give you a piece of my life as a 5%er though. Let me find something here to read. I'm real here, page 85. I ran everything by my man Napoleon. He was working on his album at the time, The Kingpin with the Ink Pen. I was working on some material for a mixtape that I was going to record over the phone. I wanted to get on Napoleon's album over the phone too. When I told Napoleon my plan, he said, you need to holler at RZA. That's what I did. I had my brother's girl, Tracina, who we call TT, call him for me on three-way. The first time I called, it was on a Saturday in 2004. He told me to call back on Monday. I'm gonna stop right there. You want to know the rest of that? Get the book, My Life as a 5%er, 36 Chamber Disciple. Major Bank Mentality. .company. .site. I thought it was up here for a link that you can see. I think it's right here now. Major Bank Mentality. .company. .site. You know, Major Bank Mentality. .company. .site. I thought the link was up there. Go get the album, The Brotherhood, on Spotify, Tidal, Apple, iTunes, you know, major platforms, The Brotherhood, 7-song album. It's a life jewel too. You know, it's a life jewel. Just like My Life as a 5%, it's a life jewel. It's like when you go into the store, in the jewelry store, you see different jewelry in there. You got different variations of jewelry in a jewelry store. So this right here is just one aspect of a jewel, you know, of the jewelry that I'm expressing. Let me read something else. Okay, I'm gonna read this part, page 115. I had too much influence on King Mountain. They couldn't trick me up to get my security level raised. I had stayed clear of charges. Of course, you know, the officers knew we were planning a riot. There is always an informant amongst such activity. Just go back in the history of and Denmark Vesey, and they're playing slave revolts. Playing something like that, the more you run the risk of your opposition finding out. I had some elder brothers advising me on this. The call was up to me. All the elders of the street organizations told me, just let them know, and they will give the word to pop off. I was thinking hard on this. I was looking at what the fallout would be. People were going to get hurt bad. These rednecks are going to regroup and come back strong. This old head named Kamal asked me that I have access to the news media. He said we would need to let the news media know so that attention can be put on us, which would keep a lot of us from getting killed. The older people were skeptical, but the young gangsters were like, fuck it. I'm ready right now. Let's pop. I had a big decision to make. I looked for signs. I looked for anything that would intuitively guide me in the right direction. I meditated on it for days. Then the crazy shit happens. Some Bloods and some niggas from DC got into a beef. Some people got stabbed up, and the tension across the prison was high amongst the Bloods and the DC and Northern Virginia niggas. So much for a riot against the police. We can't even stick together amongst ourselves. For me, that was all a sign I needed. The beef had popped off in B building where most of the guards were at. Their part was on lockdown. A lot of people got transferred. I was also later transferred. Yeah, so this right here filled with all type of stories. It's a story filled with stories, true stories. I'm not making none of these stories up. So that's why I'm gonna have a session called Fact Check. And for those who look at it like, oh, I'm not bringing the actual facts to these stories, okay, it's going to be a platform for you to be able to express yourself to see. Because one thing about me, I deal with what's right and exact. And I write. See, I write like in a journal. So I chart out my life. I got a good memory as well. So yeah, it's like how they do in court, right? In the court of law, they don't have to see what happened. They don't need a camera. Because, yo, check it out. Today's alphabet, right? It just spontaneously came to me right now. What's today's alphabet? It's unknown. X, right? X. So in algebra, how do you verify the X? How do you identify what the X stand for? It's an equation. The wisdom culture comes to equality. So we talk about how you balance it out. Make it very simple for you. 1 plus X equals 2. That's real simple. It's so simple, right? But it gonna blow your mind when I really spark you with it though. Like 1 plus X equals 2. So you know what the X is because you know what the 2 is on this side of the equation and you know what the 1 is on this side of the equation. So it identifies what the X is. So you don't have to actually see something physically or hear something physically to be able to draw up in your mind what really happened or what something really is because of how life is set up. See, the wisdom and the culture expresses a certain equality, and that equality is what's inside is expressed outside. What's unseen is identified by what you see. So when the individual try to say Allah can't be seen, you heard some people say Allah can't be seen. That's a lie. Allah can be seen by what we see. It's me, the black man. When you see the black man, you seeing Allah. We said, whoa, yo, you can't see the mind. I'm going to hit you with a deep jewel right here on this Wisdom Culture Day. Listen to this wise science right here. It's a fine science, wise words of wisdom. Check it out. Because I'm going to get back to the other part I was just talking about with the X. This connects to that, right? Check it out. Have you ever heard, right, somebody say, you can't see the mind? You heard that, right? You heard somebody say, yo, you can't see the mind. I see the garden period right there, peace and period. So, yo, you would hear people say, oh, yo, you can't see the mind. Check this out. I'm going to hit you to this wise science right here. If you have in your mind the thought that you can't see the mind, how do you know you haven't never seen the mind? Shit sound crazy, right? Check it out. This is AllahKing Wize coming to you. Check this out right here. If you got in your mind the idea that you can't see the mind, how do you know you haven't ever seen the mind. Because if you got in your mind, you don't know what the mind looked like because you've never seen it. How would you know what you're looking at if you did see it? If you were to see the mind, if the mind was to appear before your eyes, how would you be able to know what you're looking at? Because you already got in your head, I've never seen the mind. You can't see the mind. You can't see it. So if you're saying you can't see it, how do you know that you can't see it if you never saying you seen it? If you never saying you seen it, how the fuck you know you ain't been looking at it the whole time? How do you, because now you say, what is the mind? How do you define what the mind is? Outside of saying you can't see it. Think about that. My life is a 5%er. This is what it is right here. I'm giving you my life as a 5%er. Yeah, I'm the God. But as a young God, you start up as a 5%er when you're young. You know, you evolve. Some people still say they 5%ers, you know. But my point for bringing that up, you don't have to see everything in the form that you may be thinking that it's supposed to have been in order for you to know what it is. And they use this in court every day. Every day inside the court of law, they have what you call circumstantial evidence. They don't need hard, tangible evidence of I physically saw, I physically heard. What they do is they piece things together based off of the circumstances that surround the subject at hand. Whatever the subject matter at hand is. It could be, this person been shot. Nobody saw it take place. But there's a suspect that has been accused of it. This individual has been accused of shooting this person. Even the person who got shot didn't see it. But however, it's certain factors that are involved. This person who has been accused, he get caught with a gun that linked to the bullet that was found in this person. That's just part of some evidence. That alone is not strong enough to get a conviction. But other circumstances get involved. Now let's say, they were arguing with each other 2 hours before this person got shot. So now it comes down, where were you at such and such time? Person got shot at 7 o'clock. Where were you at 7 o'clock? Is how they will come. Where were you at 7 o'clock? If you can't be able to verify where you were at 7 o'clock, now you're going to be placed there. Because if you're not able to say where you were at 7 o'clock, then now you're going to be placed at this spot at 7 o'clock where this person got shot because you got caught with the gun that the bullet that's in this person's body that's a victim came out of this gun. That's circumstantial evidence is what they call that. The circumstances adding up to, and that don't necessarily mean for a fact that you were the one that shot him neither though. But because, it's adding up. And so they got to keep piling up more evidence. More things got to keep being piled up. So this is what I'm talking about. The stories in my book, you want to talk about which ones are fact. All of them are fact. But how you want to deal with how we can verify these facts is people still alive. It's people who were in the know of certain things. So all you got to do is bring it all together. Let these people get together and have a dialogue. Minus your emotions. Let's take the emotions out of it, because the emotions going to clog up your vision. You ain't gonna be able to see clear. So let's calm down. Take a deep breath. Separate your personal emotions from the situation. Right? Have an impartial evaluation of the situation. Impartial, not biased. So let's look at it wisely. And something else that they use in the court of law is they check the credibility of the individual who was expressing their version of what something was. So if this person get to testify to say, this is what happened, the lawyer is going to try to destroy that person's credibility by saying, oh, didn't you have a charge for such and such before? Or didn't this happen? See, they want to destroy your credibility because your history precedes you. Your credibility, like your credit, your word. Do you keep your word? How many times have your word failed to an individual? How many times were you caught up in some type of conspiracy or some type of conflict, backbiting, and you said this and then you went and told this person that, and then, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of lies and shit going on, and it's a culture degree, the 1 through 14, bring everybody at the table and let's have a dialogue about this. What did you say he said? What people in front of each other and examine them. Watch the person in their eyes and get deep into their soul. Let's see what you're talking about. And let's say you in an environment where your fucking life is on the line now. And you better be speaking the truth. See, have you ever been in those type of ciphers? Have you ever been in an environment where you better kick the facts right now? Because it's wise men right here examining you, and justice will get served and take your fucking head off if you coming with some sideways snake shit. That's the type of environment I've been in. That's what I've been amongst. I've been amongst it where, yo, you better come right and exact with it. Because it's people listening. It's people doing it. Because why? Your word is bond. So somebody may say, yo, man, how that's too aggressive. That ain't, yo. So why does the degree say this? Have you? See what I'm saying? Have you not heard that your word shall be bond, regardless to whom or what? Have you not heard that your word shall be bond, regardless to whom or what? Yes, my word is bond, and bond is life. And I will give my what? Life before my word shall fail. And if you want to wonder why certain things is so weak, and you want to know why certain things is so far-fetched and out of order, it's because that is not being put to the forefront of life that we live. If you knew that when you open your mouth, that you're going to be held accountable for what you are saying, and that you better be kicking the facts of what you say, you would hear a lot of people running their mouth, kicking some bullshit. Nowadays, you will be dealing with a brother, you meet a brother, and you be like, yo, peace, God, peace, peace. My name is such, such, such. Yo, you knowledge 120? Yeah, I knowledge 120. Yo, what's the understanding God degree in the 1 through 40? But you just told me you knowledge one. You just told me that you know what I mean. You can knowledge. You got 120 on cap. But it's easy. It easy to get said these days. I remember as a young guy being in the cipher and being shook to a degree, like, oh shit, it's the heat that's in this. Like, yo, you better be coming right and exact with this. That's just a point I'm making, but everybody got their own equality, how they're going to express it. But have you not heard that your word shall be gone, regardless to whom or what? And that's how that goes. So fact check. Let's go. Let's go with this. My life is a 5%. Let's see. Let's see. Because, yo, I come with a certain type of humbleness, but my credibility, though. See, when you check the credibility of an individual, and the credibility goes, okay, if I know this is a good brother right here, or this is a good sister right here, and I trust their word, because over a period of time of my experiences with this person, I have seen this person keep their word. Their word have been tried and tested, and it stands true. So now, if, let's say like my brother Shaqi, if Shaqi say, yo, Wize, check this out, boom, 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 boom. I've dealt with Shaqi for so many years, and dealing with different type of situations, I know the God word strong. I don't take none on face value, but I'm going to take real strong heed to what the brother is saying because of me knowing him and his history and how he have conducted himself as God for a certain amount of years, months, and days. So if he introduced me to somebody and say, yo, God, this brother right here, So I'm going to take that God credit. Your credit, you co-signing him. If anything goes crazy with me and this individual, I'm going to hold Shakia accountable first. Like, yo, you brought him to me. You told me this brother was this way, and he come out to be some other type of way. So me, I don't just loosely link somebody with somebody. Just because I might deal with somebody, he got some shit with him. Where everybody got some shit with him. But I'm saying, I know this brother right here, he wild right here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to bring this brother to a certain situation to link with certain people because I know, you know what? I don't want that on my hand. So with certain people, you know, I keep at a certain distance. I'm just giving you certain facts of my equality. And in my days of living in the grimy Snake Street, I've dealt with some wild shit. I dealt with some wild things. So I understand the movement of a snake. I've never done nothing to no gods. I've never done nothing to the gods. But when you came to some 85ers, I done some wild shit to some 85ers though. But we was in the street. It wasn't like I'm dealing with civilians, like, you know, this is a regular person. No, you were in the jungle. And when you in that jungle right there, it's certain shit that go down. It's rules and regulations to go to that. If you chose to step out into this lifestyle, then what comes with this lifestyle, that just is what comes with this lifestyle. So one thing I never betrayed nobody though. AllahKing Wize ain't never wrote no statement on nobody. AllahKing Wize ain't never got on the stand and testified on nobody. Never. That ain't never happened. So that's why I say let's get to the facts of things. The facts. And so nowadays, this is another thing, right? People talk about the snitch culture. I hear a lot of people talk, oh, yo, the snitch, this, snitch, that. Yo, why you want to bring that shit up? Yo, he's snitching. What the fuck you telling me for? I don't live the crime life anyway. I'm not doing nothing illegal. So I don't care who a snitch. I don't care who a snitch is because I don't live that lifestyle. I'm not into no crime. So you telling me this dude is a snitch? Yo, my thing is, why is he still breathing if he's a snitch? That'll be the first thought, some street shit that come in my head from the street. If he's a snitch, what the fuck he's still walking around for if he's a snitch? So why are you telling me? What are you telling me for? I don't sell drugs. I don't do illegal activity. So I don't care if he's a snitch. But evidently you care about him being a snitch. But if you care so much about him being a snitch, why you ain't did nothing about him being a snitch? But you would kill this other dude over here for some old stupid shit. The young brother get killed over here for what? But you got dudes get on the stand and testifying on people and get somebody's life. That's coward. You got caught up in the crime and then you want to go put somebody else involved in your shit. Even if y'all were together, you got caught. Deal with the responsibility of your actions. And then this is how wicked the system is. This is how wicked the system is, right? I was just building with my brother Sincere Amin. Allah, he from Fort Greene to God, been down for 30 years. On a murder and attempted murder, right? Okay, yeah, okay, he killed somebody. They say he killed somebody and he attempted to kill somebody else. That's what they saying. Okay, God did his time, but they still want to hold him in there because they know he the God. But here go the science, though. I'm gonna show you how this wicked shit go. Two people can be involved in a murder. Two individuals shoot one individual. They both shoot him, right? One of them get caught. And the prosecutor say, yo, if you tell me who was with you, he'll let you go. Or he say, yo, if you tell me who was with you, yo, we'll give you a plea deal for 3 years. All right, he be like, yo, such and such was with me. He write a statement. He literally put this on paper. Such, we did such. He get on the stand. Do you see the person in the courtroom he poured him out? Right? This same individual who was a co-defendant in a murder, who shot somebody, never go through a process, reform, rehabilitation, or any of that shit. And they let. So I don't want to hear, oh, this person killed somebody. He's the worst thing in the world. He should never be released from prison. He's a threat to society. Motherfucker, you let snitches out every day who does some wild shit. Who ain't never served no time for the act that they did. But all they did was take a coward way out and just say, yo, I know somebody else that was with me. Or I know somebody did this. All you did was told on somebody. But Where's the equality yet about this person need to be corrected and you putting back into society a criminal that haven't been reformed yet? And the main ones who kicking that shit is the conservative individuals who are tough on crime, weak ass fucking argument. You tough on crime. If you so tough on crime, why you letting snitches out? Why you can't do your job and find out what happened without getting this person to tell on that person? But you will allow somebody who admitted that I shot him. Yeah, I shot him, but he shot him too. Right? And they call that shit game theory. The game theory of who will be the first one to say what happened. They got a whole science on this shit. So young individuals caught up in crime, y'all ain't studying this shit from no science perspective. You caught up in your emotions. These devils are studying science. They studying deduction. They studying what they call it syllogism, how the mind work and how they, figure out how something happened, how to study you and trick you into telling on yourself and somebody else. But you need mentors. You need some older individuals who done been through some shit to school the young individuals on the traps. Like, yo, don't get yourself trapped off like that. Yo, watch your step because they got traps for you. They don't care about, how many people got killed, how much drugs being sold. They don't give a fuck about that for real, but they use the emotional content. They stir the emotions up in the people. They get the people all riled up emotionally. And the people, going to get so riled up and say, yeah, like they did Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They said, yo, what you want me to do with this man? That's what Pilate said in the Bible. They said, crucify him. Crucify him. Because they created a storyline around him that they said, yo, he was doing this according to the law. They said Jesus was breaking the law. That's what the Jews in the Bible was telling Jesus. Yo, the law says, that's what they kept telling him. The law says this. You're not supposed to do this on the Sabbath day because the law says, and so, yo, you're not supposed to be a man saying you God. The law says. And so they said he broke the law. He broke the law. They got to lock him up. But Jesus said, yo, I didn't come to break the law. I come to fulfill the law. And when he was meaning by fulfill the law, let me break this shit down to you and give you an understanding of it. You looking at this shit like, it's an understanding to it. How you apply this equality. Equality, how do you make this fit the situation? Every situation don't cause for the same shit. You trying to handle every situation with the same formula. Nah, it got to be a different approach. You got to study each situation according to that situation. But that's the science, man. My life is a 5%. Once again, get the brotherhood. See, I ain't the average individual. You got some of us to be rapping and shit. And they rapping. No, nigga, I know my degrees. I rap. I'm a bill. I'm going to do all of that. You're not going to come to me like, yo, you don't know your history. You saying you God and you using our language in the music. Now I'm using my language. I'm using our language. It ain't just your language. This is our language. This is the way I choose to express it. And I know my lessons. And I know my history. And I'm going to teach the babies. That is the true and living God. Peace.